Let's do it. Hey Adam,
Hey mate,
how are you?
tired,
Yeah,
very
I'm
tired,
tired too.
but I've got my eyesight back, so
Yeah, I think you look better as
but,
well. Something's
but
changed.
there's that, better than
How was your day?
that. Yeah, good. It's good to be good to be back on site. I've had a lot of time in the office recently, sort of catching up on designs, quotes, health and safety, all that sort of stuff. So it's nice to actually get back and be outside, especially while the sun's out. But yeah, it's nice to be back on the tools.
Yeah, no, it's good for the head as well sometimes, isn't it? To just spend some time laying tiles. That's what I've been doing. Yeah, no, it's nice. The weather's made a change. I think a lot of people are catching up on maybe lost time because of all the rain. I know I'm still chasing my tail on a few bits and bobs. So it's nice to make, some improvement, with the weather and just
Yeah.
crack on with the project.
Is it nice for you to go onto? Obviously, you typically do sort of large, bigger projects. Is it nice for you to do like a week long or a couple day project? It's nice to break it
Yeah,
up.
yeah, it's hard to be in a small garden. I find it really hard. It's like, the mess gets on top of you really quick. You have to be more organized. In
You've
some ways, the big,
you've got to load stuff into a wheelbarrow rather than the van,
um,
and you've got to push it through
no,
the
no, no, literally, we had to put the ton bag. So we had a ton bag. We had to put it in buckets
yeah,
and then bring the buckets through because the access was bad.
yeah.
Um, so I'm not used to that because, like you say, I'm normally on big projects, but we always have smaller ones, and like filler jobs, I like to call them. Um, and the client's really nice, and there's potential more work there as well. So, you know, he's a good guy. So it's nice to work with him. So tonight we've got a guest. It's the first time we have a nursery, a plantsman slash nursery guest on. So
Yeah.
you've met him. Have you met him personally?
Yeah, so I actually know Adam really well. I've known him for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
Really lovely guy. Super passionate. And yeah, I hadn't seen him in a couple of months, and went up to Flourish a couple of weeks ago. And yeah, they've got some pretty exciting news. Yeah, what they're doing is they I think typically ship over from Italy or Holland,
Yeah.
but the plants, the specimen plants they get are
Yeah.
incredible. They're really good for like sourcing. Um, yeah, I mean you tell them what you want, and they can kind of source it for you.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I'm going to try to invite him uh, if I can find him. Here we go. Here he is. So I invited him. So he's a good guy for when it comes down to plants. I had a chat with him today. Here he is. Hello, Adam.
Good evening. How are we doing?
Yeah, very well.
Yeah,
How are you?
Not too bad. Can you hear me all right?
yeah,
Is everything okay?
yeah, all good.
Good.
Roger that.
Good. Yeah. So,
How,
podcast, eh?
Yeah.
how was your day?
Quite busy today. So, one last push of stock up into Chelsea.
Yeah,
So, there's a few, it's kind of twitchy bum time now,
yeah,
really.
yeah,
There's lots of gap filling and can we find this? Can we find that? So, yeah, last push of stock, I think, in today. And then tomorrow, we actually start bringing Danish trolleys back and plants that aren't going to get used. So, yeah, it's kind of busy. Plus, obviously, you mentioned the weather, much nicer weather. Unfortunately, our stock all needs to be kept alive.
yeah,
So, watering comes in, and that takes people off of tools, takes people off of other jobs, basically. So,
yeah.
but if it's not alive, there's no point selling it.
Nicole was doing it today. Nicole was helping out at Chelsea. She spent 5 hours watering.
That's it. You know, water is life, isn't it? So yeah, if there's no,
Yeah.
if it, yeah, that, you've got to be quite disciplined and know that you've got a load of potting on to do or a load of stock to put out. But do you know what? If you don't water the stock out the other side of the nursery, it's no good in 2-3 days. So yeah.
So just on that point with the obviously you're supplying plants for Chelsea.
Yeah.
What a few people kind of asked me, it's quite interesting. What happens to the plants after you've supplied them to Chelsea Flower Show? What then happens to the plants afterwards?
So normally there'd be a bit of a plan for them. Quite often, obviously, there's a charity involved. I'd probably say every garden's got a charity involved somewhere along the line. And they might get donated to some have silent auctions. So people, visitors of Chelsea will bid on the gardens. Sometimes if a larger company's involved, they have other charities that they donate the garden to. But it's never a small investment.
No.
A main avenue garden, you're looking at £300,000-400,000 just in plants or basic costs. Let alone all the staff costs, machinery costs is absolutely vast. Most of them will have a plan somewhere along the line. Or you just have someone random say, what's going on? I love this garden. I've got loads of money and a massive, great estate, and I want it in my property. And that happens quite often. Quite often. Yeah, and then you've got to negotiate. Right. Well, look, this is the value of the garden. Relocation costs, landscaping costs to actually do the job. And then there's that awkward period where you kind of think that it's gone, but obviously it can't stay at Chelsea, it can't stay at Hampton Court, it can't stay at Malvern. It's got to go somewhere temporarily before it then goes to its end destination. Yeah.
Right. I mean, have you been involved with Chelsea quite a lot then?
Not over the years, yes, and sometimes it's very small.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like this year was quite considerable with the G-Hay garden.
Yeah.
Working alongside Form on that one.
What's the name of the guy?
Jamie Butterworth. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So Jamie's managing the project of G-Hay's Korean mountain garden. Which is fantastic. Really exciting concept. So, and then we've contract grown a lot of the plants. We've pulled plants in from other nurseries, smaller, potted them on, grown them on. The involvement starts obviously a long time. And then we've provided plants to probably 5 or 6 other gardens, but then you can't. If it's one plant, it might even be a key plant, but can you say you've supplied it? It's not like the G-Hay garden. We've got fingerprints all over it. Other pieces, it's hole filling and it's this and that and last minute bits and pieces. It's normally like this week. Saturday, I had to go up because I think one of the gardens, once they built their garden, they could actually see something that they didn't. Until you built it, you don't know you're going to see whether it's a wall or
something like that.
I need some native hedging, just block it. What have you got? And so you come in right at the end, and that's I think sometimes where your strength can be, because you can react quickly. You've got what they want to the quality that they want, but then you might not have been considered all the way through. They might not know you. They might not. That's where, like I said, now it's like squeaky bum time. You get phone calls from people you've never spoken to before. So
just a question. Keep it on the topic of Chelsea. So like obviously you're working for one specific garden, and it starts early, and you're picking the plants really early on. Do you like chill the plant if they are just to hold the flower in? How is that process of like making sure you get the best out of the plants? Have you got like little secret tips?
There's holding back's a lot harder than bringing on. To a degree, even looking on Insta over the last few weeks, where the designers are going around checking. It's more herbaceous plants. Like we're specimen plants, so unless it's a big rhododendron or it's a big something that big cornus that might be flowering too early or a bit too late or vice versa.
Yeah.
The herbaceous stuff is a bit more difficult.
Yeah.
So because it's been quite cold and damp to a degree, a few weeks ago, I think there was designers looking at their herbaceous plants, really starting to worry that,
Yeah.
is this going to be anywhere close to where I need it to be?
So they were probably trying to push them on
Push them on,
forward.
or ring around other nurseries.
Yeah.
You know, if your plant supply is in the north, you've got to, you know, they're a few degrees behind us in the south. So they might then start ringing nurseries in the south. Okay, how are your iris looking, or how are this looking? You know, and then counter that, if the ones in the south, we've had really good weather, they might be looking up north.
Yeah, because
it's a bit,
that's mental,
exactly.
isn't it?
So the designers go through a hell of a lot of work. The project managers go through a hell of a lot of work. Plant sourcers go through a lot of work. It's really quite considerable, and it's really interesting. You know, you speak to people. I love going to Chelsea Flower Show, and I love looking, and they have no idea. They have no idea what is going on. You go up there every day to, you know, deliver stuff, pick stuff up, do just the vast amount of people. I mean, at Chelsea, and I can't wait to see it finished. There's a Japanese garden, and every time I've driven past or walked past, there's an army of people with paintbrushes fluffing moss. So it's all acers and like moss walls, and it just looks phenomenal.
Nicole sent me a video of it today. It looks amazing.
And every time you go past, there's 5-6 people fluffing moss with a paintbrush, and you think, we're a week away yet. You know, what's going on? You know, but I can't wait to see it kind of finished.
Yeah.
That seems to be one that I prefer, more the natural style than very prim and proper and formal. I'm looking forward to seeing that one finished.
I think that's a very good point, because I was saying when we met up, Adam, I was also saying to Els that a lot of the designers get credit for the gardens, but as you said, there's so much work behind the scenes. I think it'd be an interesting story to do more of like a TV, more of a kind of an interview, a podcast on the story behind it, the build-up, because there's so much effort that goes into sourcing stuff. And then building it. As you said, people kind of walk in. Yes, it's amazing, it's incredible. It looks really nice, but there's so much more story. That's only like a snippet of it, really.
Yeah, I mean, even to your guys' skill set. The hard landscapers. When was it? Was it Monday? I think I went, and there was just a guy sat on a bucket. He's just obviously knackered. They work mega long hours until the job is done. You are there sweating. And he's just got. If I could have got my phone out and taken a picture, it would have been a great shot. Just exhausted. But then, like now, they're all on adrenaline. They're all pushing. I was talking to Jamie this morning. I said, we're nearly there. Nearly at the end. He said, but then the show starts. So then you're up there every day talking to people, meeting the public, and that's a whole different workload. It's a different, all the guys with the mucky boots have gone. The place is mint and immaculate and swept and, polished the floor, whatever. But, the amount of hard landscapers that was there. And I was delivering some plants to a garden. They were having some dry stone walling done. And that's just one of those skills that you watch someone and, they're bouncing the rock in their hand. They're feeling the weight, they're feeling the shape and putting it down. It's not that one. Pick it up. And it's such a strong skill set that you wish you had. And they'd make these beautiful kind of beehives of dry stone wall, and it's just phenomenal skill.
It must be something else, like being able to get involved with what you obviously love, the plants. Because I mean, I say it to my customers when we do projects or on our own design. Oh shit, someone fell out of my pocket now. You can do all the hard landscaping, all the beautiful patios and the beautiful pagodas and the kitchen and this. The plants just bring it together.
Yeah.
It just ties, every element together and just makes it homely. The big project, actually Adam came to help us lay the grass there one day. The big project we just nearly finished, I was so surprised by the size of the borders. And I was like, they're huge. And I've seen it from a gardener's point of view as well. And that's going to take a lot of work to maintain and stuff like that. But now I see it all planted. It just made sense. The designer made them that big for a reason.
Yeah.
And, you know, you put the plants in and it's a lot of herbaceous. So all your perennials and you know, dogwoods and hydrangeas and things like that. But when everything will grow, it's just going to look lived in. It's going to look part of the environment more than just like, you know, and I've done them before, you know, when you're a young landscaper and you do the smallest raised bed and you expect to have lots of colour, but you can't put 5 plants in a raised bed. And so I think, you know, as landscapers, we, and I've said that to everyone that comes through, if you want to be a good landscaper, you need to enjoy the plants, because it will make you a better landscaper for starters, and it will just finish your project just right. So, you know, I've turned to nurseries and local to me, because as I'm learning the process of what plant goes where and all that stuff, and I find like a couple of really nice nursery. One's called Matthew. It's like a family run thing, and they're always busy. They're always so happy to help. So my question for you is, what's the relationship you have with your client, as in people like us, gardeners, designers, or landscapers? And how do you build that? How do you go about it?
I think it's different on every. We don't get a lot of retail in at the nursery. We don't kick retail out, but most of it is to a skilled person of some
degree.
And then it's understanding what they want. It's not obviously never sort of patronize someone. You know, listen to what they're saying, help them as much as they can, and it's almost never as much as time allows. You've just got to put the tools down and help the customer. So sometimes with the hard landscapers, it can be a bit more fun, because they're not so stuck in. They just want it to look good, and they're quite open to suggestions. Sometimes you can get garden designers, and they're great because they're very clear. This is what I want, and it's almost better when they say, "I haven't got that today. I haven't got that now." And okay, no problem. I'll go somewhere else, and that's fine, because you can't have everything. Yeah, we've got a good sized nursery, but you cannot have.
No.
Or someone will come and say, "I need 5 of them tomorrow." Well, I've only got 4.
Yeah.
That was it, because you sold 6 yesterday, you know. So, but yeah, building the relationships is really quite important. And sometimes it's a trust thing, and a lot of it just comes with honesty. Don't try and flog something into somewhere that it won't work. There's no point trying to sell a Dixonia that's, you know, it's just going to be completely the wrong place. It's not going to get the maintenance it's going to look after. And also sometimes it's asking, you know, let's say like you guys, well, what's the customer going to do with it? Because it's going to look great the day you leave it, but what's it going to look like in 6 months? Are they actually going to maintain this thing?
Or do they understand how big it's going to get? Or
how big it's going to get, or, you know, they're spending $3,000 on a bonsai. Okay, well, don't be coming back to me in a year's time because they haven't fed it and watered it or pruned it, and it's all gone yellow, you know, because it's leaving here looking fantastic. It's 80 or 100 years old, and it's looked that good for a long time. So
on a plant like you said, like a $3,000 for one plant.
Yeah.
So on something like that, would you ask for like a soil sample and like get a good understanding of where that plant's going to go and be situated? Some designers, I mean, most the 3 designers we work for, we always do a soil sample. And just like that, we know what kind of soil to add. They got a planting scheme, and we can work to that planting scheme and the right mulch and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
So is that something you do as well?
It's something. Yeah, we can get involved. We do site visits. We do everything to help as much as we can.
Yeah.
You know, at the start, you come into this industry because you love plants. So and we spend a lot of time looking for plants and hunting plants and looking for something interesting. I don't really want to see them die.
No.
So first and foremost, it's caring. Well, where are you putting my tree?
Yeah.
I spent where's it going? You know,
because you might have had that tree in your nursery for a year. You looked after it.
Yeah.
You know, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and then the levels of garden designers, landscapers. Some come to you with almost like a folder, and it's great. It's got it's got all the levels on it. It's got sunlight. It's got pH samples in several places of the garden. Some just come in and say, "I like that. I'll have it."
Yeah.
So then, who am I then to ask the questions? You can ask basic stuff, but some of they're just not interested in that.
And a bit like what you said earlier, and I quite like that. No. You look at a designer, how they go about it. Like you say, they come with their folder. Everything's thought about.
Yeah.
And you see a landscaper do the planting scheme. I mean, I've been there a million times. I've finished the job, and it looks good. I go to a nursery, and I've got a budget, and I just pick what I love.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, I love, delphiniums, and I got my irises and peonies and blah 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 blah. A couple big things there, but it's no real kind of like planning. It's really those landscapers that come in and see something special that going to enhance their hard work in some ways. I bet they're some of the best customers, right?
Yeah. I mean, you get some, trolley pushers. They come around, fill the trolley with what's looking good.
And
they're great. Just leave them alone. They come to you and it's gone. Yeah. But then we'll flip it then. So you put in what you like, delphiniums and stuff. Do you then tell the customers how they should be looking after it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a plantsman. I started my business as a gardener.
Right.
I'm a farmer. I grew vines growing up.
Right.
And I worked at Woodland Garden. It's like an English heritage garden and a kitchen garden. So, like shaping trees, espalier. I pruned all my life vines. So I'm a plantsman. I would say so. I'm not like a nerd. Like I don't know every single name because I'm dyslexic and I'm like, but I know what plants need, and I love sharing that to the customers, and the customers value it.
Yeah.
Even when the designer placed all the plants, we do the planting.
Yeah.
So I'll do the planting, and I'll go after, and I'll say this needs to happen. Or wisteria. So the most common thing that people think they're going to put wisteria, and it's going to look beautiful in 5 years' time. Mate, you have to be so strict.
Yeah. It's a lot of work.
Super strict. I mean, my wisteria, I was there tonight. Obviously, it's in flower, but I've already got lots of runners, and I'm really strict. I'm going to just nip the top of them because I don't want this straggy mess.
Jungle,
Exactly. And you have to educate customers because if you go and, like you say, as a landscaper, you'll make it look beautiful. You did the trolley pushing and you picked everything you liked. If you don't go and give that passion over in some ways and say, I'll hand you that flame and now you look after it. And if you can't look after it, find someone that can. Yeah. Because it's a bit like, we've had problems with grass, mate. Like you lay a lawn and people don't cut it and don't water it and they think, I want a new lawn for free, please. I'm like, so with us, like growing up as landscapers, me and my wife going through certain problems, I explained it to you, Adam, on the phone earlier when we planted some laurel and the laurel didn't take, and we always take it on the chin and we are going to replace the plants. We have good relationship with some of our suppliers and they trust us in our ability to plant the plant right. And it's all over social media, so I can't hide it. So we're lucky if we have a plant fail, our nurseries often back us or meet us halfway. And but you know, sometimes you're lucky as well. Sometimes you get unlucky.
Yeah.
So I think for someone getting involved in the industry, it's two parts: is teaching your customers what to do with the plant, and after is having that really good like relationship with the nursery, because they might tell you something you don't know. So like a bonsai, I never bought a bonsai. You know, so I wouldn't know where to start it, because in my mind a bonsai needs root restriction and stuff like that. So how do you put that in the ground and without the tree going mental and becoming a tree again? So I think, you know, having those conversations early on and just being open-minded, I think really helps.
I think a lot of time that landscapers and designers can help is listen, everyone's budget and how a budget is broken up from a customer. You know, everyone wants the highest cut. It's normally you hard landscapers guys that take all the budget, and then it gets to the plants and there's like a tenth of the budget left, but they want it like looking like the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. But they've got 30 grams worth of stone just sat there, you know. So a lot of it, educating a customer to put irrigation in, it's really not a big chunk of a budget, you know, and it can help so much, you know. And also, you're not wasting water. You know, you can be very specific where you put it. You can, you know, isolate certain trees, certain things with different drip lines, and telling a customer something like that just helps so much. You know,
you know, going on the watering system, I think that more and more designers are putting water tanks in the ground. You know, harvesting tanks, and you get a pump. So we've got this project with Matthew Childs. I don't know if you know the designer.
No, I'm not aware. No.
We had him on this podcast. He's not up and coming, but he's really good. And part of this project we're going to start in June, we're doing all the planting and stuff like that. And the customers asked us to put a watering system, and I said no personally, because I've run so many problems with them, as in the maintenance, and on a scale like on a jobs like that big, you need a professional. Like, and I think landscapers need to kind of stop thinking we can do everything sometimes. And we, in the end, Matthew found this company that specialised in watering system. And it's all fed off of this system, and you can, like you said, isolate. You can, you know, bunch it up to one side and do different sort of sectors, and it's worth the investment.
Absolutely,
those customers are going to spend thousands on
it's protecting your investment as well on the plants.
It really is. And if we look at last summer, we had, you know, I'm looking at the garden we just finished. It's no watering system at all. The budget didn't allow and stuff like that. We've got, so instead of doing watering system, we've put like 4 taps, all because it's a big garden, 4 taps all the way around the garden.
Just make it as easy as possible to water.
Exactly. But Paul Baines, the designer, he gets his plant from Practical, what is it called? Practical Plants, maybe? I don't know if you've heard.
Practicality Brown, maybe?
Yeah, maybe. It's the first time I saw them when they delivered the plants. They did something really quite nice that I really admired from a nursery. The labels, because Paul Baines, the designer, obviously buys lots of plants. The labels had his name on it, and a little logo. So he places the order, and all the plants get labelled with the designer's brand, if you like.
I thought
that was quite a nice touch. But losing my train of thought, yes, that's what I was saying. The designer bought a lot of smaller plants, because in his mind, all the hedgerow was bare roots. A lot of the trees were small root balls or bare roots, because in his mind, things are going to grow.
Yep.
and actually planting them smaller in a new environment, they will flourish quicker and adapt quicker instead of putting a big plant in a new area. You run a risk of not, you know,
Yep.
it's a higher risk, right?
Yeah.
So what's your thought on that? Like, if you have a customer, obviously it's better to sell the bigger plants because it's more money, right? But do you see that variation? Do you have more people buying big plants or more the smaller
Well, we only
ones?
sell the big ones, really.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of 10 litres up.
10 litres
So
up.
yeah, so we kind of we kind of rule ourselves out of the garden centre market
Yeah. Okay.
size,
Yeah.
which do a roaring trade. So we're at the higher end
Yeah.
and the larger end. So and as long as that's done right, the argument of something settling in and taking is, it's not irrelevant, but the things are coming with their own root systems. You can, as long as the watering's done properly, you can use a product like Root Grow with the mycorrhizal fungus and do stuff like that. That's works really, really well.
Yeah, we use that on all our plants, and it's amazing.
That's it. That's it. As landscapers, you buy the big 20-kilo tub or whatever it is, and it's just great. It's
and
really good stuff.
You have to put it really on that root ball, don't you?
Yeah.
You know what I've used as well for the first time not long ago was that platypus system.
Fantastic.
It's next level.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
Like, for me, it was like boom.
Yeah.
Why have I not done this before? I'm not hammering a stake no more.
Yeah. That's again. As long as the budget.
It looks a lot nicer as well.
Pardon?
Yeah.
It's all hidden, and it looks a lot nicer.
It's stronger.
Yeah, great product. Yeah.
It's such a good product because a tree doesn't get that silt. It will flex in the wind and it will get stronger quicker, but the root plate won't move. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I was really taken back by that.
Yeah.
Is that something you supply as well?
We don't get involved in the supply. I mean, we can do if we sell big things. And sometimes you get like, I'm buying these trees. Tell me what I need, and then you can sort stuff like that. But again, if it's a landscaper, then they tend to look after that themselves.
Going back to Flourish.
Yeah.
Am I right in thinking that when you first set out, you kind of had it in mind with going for the specimen high end market straight away? You didn't try. You kind of went straight out into.
Well,
that
was the outset. Was that we were aiming. Look, we're in Surrey. We're surrounded by quite an affluent area. So we know what our market is, and we deliver all over the country. But our bread and butter is let's say within a 20-30 mile radius. But yeah, so because the nursery that we actually took over, we started it at the start of lockdown. Because the nursery that we inherited the nursery from was smaller, herbaceous, and 5 litre, 10 litre stuff. We kind of bought some of that in, thinking that okay, well, look, we're still going to have the jobbing landscapers popping in, and so we bought all this stuff on our first trip over to Italy, and it took us ages to sell it. We just couldn't sell it. And we were selling all the 4 metre tall bays, literally truckload, turning them over, big 150 litre hedging plants, and beautiful big trees. And so that we weren't struggling with that. What just kept sitting there on the corner was these small little cheap plants, small euonymus, small Elaeagnus. It just wasn't what we were there to do, So we had to, and also, we started a nursery with a blank canvas, like there was nothing there. There was a lot of effort. Even that, the amount of money that goes just in the floor of a nursery. Yeah. Before you put a pot on it, all the sub base, we literally just took over mud, really. Yeah. So you've got to build it up slowly. Buy a load, sell most of it, use the money that you've made to buy the next bit, and grow it that way. And we're 3 years in now, and it's a fully stocked nursery, and we're now extending again, and the new phase is happening. So we've probably had 2 or 3 proper stages of product where okay, we've had that and it doesn't work, we won't buy that again, let's do this, try that, okay, we've had a bit of that, that didn't work, but this is really working really well. And then even last year with that kind of heat wave, we're out in Italy and we're thinking, okay, well, listen, we need to start focusing for the heat because buying products,
plants,
exactly, doing things like obviously we're the west of London, so with Buxus, we've got the caterpillar and the blight. Okay, so everyone's Buxus is dying. Okay, well, let's make sure we've got plenty of options to replace, balls and parterre gardens. There's lots of big houses, country houses with parterre gardens and what have you. So we've got to cater for that. So yeah, there's been 2 or 3 stages of growth and redevelopment and changing the lines, changing the product lines.
I mean, the more you do it, the more you understand who your customers are.
Exactly.
And you're obviously quite, I haven't done that much research in Flourish, but it seems like you guys do big plants, special plants, and hitting that market for Chelsea. And I don't know if you follow Stone Tree, the landscaper.
No.
Oh, okay. So not long ago, he did a big project, huge manor house type job. I think he had like 3 Arctic lorries of U balls or like teardrop U's.
Right. Yep.
But
the root balls were like 1.5 meters.
Oh yeah, the root balls were on the pallet. But I mean, I'm looking at one plant. I'm thinking, okay, maybe around this much or this much. And his stories were insane. The customer must have spent I mean, that's another league.
Yeah.
So you're kind of in that niche a little bit of big plants, high quality, and some. Do you have some things other people don't do?
No, because there's a lot of great nurseries out there, and I suppose your niche comes from personal choice.
Yeah.
I think throwing that question over to me, that every time that I've gone there, you're always kind of there's always a lot of special things. So when you're saying what does Flourish or what does Adam do differently, it's hard to say other than when you walk around, because everything
in
is.
The flesh.
I'm talking, I don't know, percentage wise, the 60% of the really big, impressive stuff. Yeah, other people might not do that because every time you go there, it's in and out so quickly that you can't. There's something's different there every time. But I'd say my experience is. So would you say in terms of your best sellers, I guess, tall hedging for sure must be more numbers.
Yeah.
But then coming down from that, is it olives? Is it your topiaries?
Olives are quite good. Multi-stem trees are really strong for us. That might be because we like them, so we stock more of them, so we sell more of them, maybe. Crown lifted, anything kind of parachute or crown lifted, the last 2-3 years has just been crazy. Yeah, Osmanthus crown lifted has just been really strong. Our homegrown, so we grow 10-litre grasses, 10-litre ferns, 10-litre hydrangeas. So they're always a good turnover, and locally people know that they can buy a bigger grass for good value.
Yeah.
So they're a good seller. But yeah, I think probably the multi stems and crown lifted are probably what's really popular. And then I think probably half, if not maybe a bit more, of what we sell, the product that goes through the books, hardly touch the floor. It's all to customer orders. It's designers' plant lists. It's designers' wish lists. It's you get the amount of Pinterest mood boards you get sent, which are great. Because I don't know what it was like 30, 40 years ago. Because now someone comes in with their phone. I want that.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Because I know exactly what they want.
So just talk through that process then, in terms of someone looking for like a really high quality sort of specimen plant for the garden, or some larger hedging, stuff like that. If they're signed up, if they get your email to say, okay, what's in stock, if what they want isn't on that list, is it just a case of sending an email going, hi Adam, are after a couple of Eilers Granata balls, 5 of them at such and such size, a couple of Fletcher Jack Montai multi-stems. So that we can email it over, and you'd say, yeah, we can try and source those for you. And then, yeah, so it's not just what's on the stock. There's other, that's what I'm going, the process of, yeah.
Everything, yeah. I mean, it's the kind of thing you can't stock every size of every product. So, someone, let's say, 175 to 2 meter hedging is probably the kind of sweet spot that people want. 150, 175, maybe, on the more expensive lines. But yeah, the bigger stuff, you're not going to be stocking 10 or 15 5 meter tall hedging plants, just because it's a lot of value sat there and you don't know who's coming through the door. So that kind of thing you then have to react to. You get, so normally on an average list, there's probably at least 3 or 4 suppliers involved, whether it's herbaceous or, we buy certain trees from certain nurseries, certain hedging from certain nurseries.
Yeah, we do that.
And then you also have to consider availability. You can't buy the same product from the same nursery every time.
No.
So some of the Italian stuff's better later in the year because it's had the summer to flush through. During the autumn and the winter, using the Dutch and the Belgian market, the German market a lot more.
But do you travel a lot, like to those places like Italy?
Yeah.
Obviously, Holland is a huge one.
That's normally where you see that bit of something different.
Yeah.
Because if you're not out there, if you're looking at lists, you're not going to buy something. You're not going to buy something because you can look at something and you see that it might cost us 2-3 grand, and you think, oh, that's a lot of money. But then when you look at it, you think, oh no, I can sell that.
Yeah.
And you have to back exactly. You have to back yourself, and so there's that kind of instinct, and it's also quite interesting. So you can get 3 of us go out. Let's say me, myself, Phil, and Jamie did an Italian trip. It's 3 completely different opinions on one product, but we all do the same job.
Yeah.
You're all dealing with customers.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a running joke. We sell tons of Photinia, and it's something that it's been done. Everyone's got a Photinia in their garden somewhere along. You can't go along a street, but bloody hell, you just keep selling it. So you have to keep stocking it.
Different shapes and sizes, but
exactly, and it's good budget. It's a good budget plant. You can buy. I was saying about the multi-stem, cloud pruned, parachute pruned plants, and you get a really good size for good value, and that's all that matters to that one person that looks and they want that big evergreen structure in the corner of the garden.
What about peach trees? Do you sell a lot of peach trees?
We do sell a lot of peach trees, yeah.
It's like a big boom, isn't it?
It's a big boom.
I think 5 years ago, it went mental.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the biggest issue we have is everyone wants just evergreen tree. I want evergreen tree. Okay, well, you're just massively reducing the choice that you've got.
Basically laurel, or it's not that much.
Yeah, and we've lost Quercus ilex at the moment as well, which was really strong compared. We used to sell a lot of that. Can't sell that. Can't import that at the moment.
Yeah.
So
is that the one with the silverback leaf a little bit?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so evergreen oak.
Yeah, evergreen oak.
Yeah.
I love that. It's really nice that we planted a row of that. It took a long time. It's slow growing though.
Yeah.
Really slow growing.
But yeah, pleach we do a lot of, and I think sometimes the end customer doesn't realise how much maintenance can be involved in it. If you want it looking nice, and certain varieties just bolt off, and then you're creating a job. You are creating a job, and you can do the same job with much nicer, not necessarily individual varieties of trees, but a nice row of trees does the job. What window do you look out the most? Where are you really trying to block that view? Is it from that patio because you're looking back at the neighbours? Is it you don't need that big solid block. You can do it with individual trees in the right place.
It's often, instead of blocking a window with, like you say, you put a tree closer to your view,
Absolutely.
and suddenly you didn't need 10 peach trees. You needed one well-positioned tree that's
Exactly.
going to just
Yeah.
grow your eyes
Yeah.
from what's,
And you
you
can
know,
have something so much more interesting, so much
exactly.
more interesting. It's
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
add so much more character to the garden.
Yeah,
Um,
I think it's this. I mean, I've done it myself. You know, you go in an estate garden. You know, nice house, but you know, surrounded by other houses, and they want privacy. You kind of go, yeah, well, peach trees.
yeah.
You know, it's kind of
Yeah.
the go-to.
Yeah. Oh, the amount of houses that or customers that come in and say, "Oh, yeah, I've just moved house, normally into a nice big house, and I don't want to see the neighbours." And you think, well, you've got the money to live out on a farm in the middle of
Yeah.
nowhere. Why do you want to live there then? Why you come in here straight away and you're blocking everyone out? You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, people just don't like their neighbours
No,
anymore. Yeah.
I know, I
You
know.
know, I remember my nan's house was all chain link fence, and you could see the full row of houses, you know, across
Yeah.
everyone's garden. Now everyone just wants to be caged in, you know.
They do, they do, they
Yeah,
do, honestly.
yeah,
Um,
A question
yeah,
I had, someone's asking me because I was sort of telling a few stories about a few of the times I've visited the nursery and the amazing plants I've seen. What has been like the most expensive plant that you've managed to source that's been in the nursery? 'Cause I remember Alex sort of telling me once, but it's quite surprising in terms of how much some of these plants
yeah.
cost.
Um, yeah, the most expensive ones are normally to order. So that, you know, and obviously we've been paid for them before we bring them over. So yeah, I mean, anything up to, I mean, easily 50, 60,000. We had, you'd have seen the bonsai that we had at the nursery for a period of time. That was bought with quite a bit of confidence after red wine at lunch. We'd driven past it a few times on the nursery, and it was just a case of we can sell that. Yeah, so that was a bit of bit of red wine confidence. So yeah. Also, as the business grows, like I listened to one of your other podcasts, you talk about machinery, you know, and equipment. The older we get, the more confident we can be, and the more of these kind of, I don't want to say risks because it's never a risk, but listen, you're buying something, it's going to sit there for a while. You don't know when that person's coming in.
But like you said, it's an opportunity.
Yeah.
That if you haven't bought that, sometimes you never know. You don't know when, but someone's going to walk past one day and go, "Do you know what? My heart's set on that.
Yeah.
I'm walking away with that."
Yeah. I mean, I remember years ago when I was at Pantar's, we had this most beautiful Ilex Granata bonsai, monster, absolute monster. And I got called to the front desk, and you know, customer here, and we were actually going to look at trees. So we're walking out of the nursery, out of the shop, up into the nursery, and he said, "Oh, what's that?" So I told him, "So I'll have that." What do you mean you'll have it? It's like 38 grand. What do you mean you have it? Yeah, I love it. I'll have it. Oh right, okay. And some people can just do that. You know, they don't care what it is. Oh, you can deliver it, can't you? Well, yeah, I think I'm gonna have to speak to the landscape department because we need to move it and there's cranes involved. Oh, yeah, well, and that was it. I just handed it over, and the guys then did what they do. You know.
yeah.
So yeah, so some also with even to the point of garden designers, some come in and they might be a bit stuck with a project. They just they've obviously all got that kind of talent of looking at a space and coming up with a story or an idea, or that just hits them straight away. Sometimes I'm sure they get really difficult ones where you just think, I just don't know, and they just come in for a look, for a wander, and they'll just see something, because that happens to us. We'll be in Italy or in Germany or wherever, and you haven't gone looking for that product.
Yeah.
But if you're on the golf buggy or if you're on the way, you're just like, whoa, hang on, what's that? And even if it's been shoved at the back, or because that's normally where the really interesting stuff is.
Yeah.
And that you think, well, that's made me stop, so it will make someone else stop.
It's quite interesting how the way I'm listening to it is, it's finding that that special plant. No, you know,
It's like a detective story. And
it,
like
that,
Adam
that,
said,
I would
it's not
think of
just
like an antique dealer, you know, like looking for old antiques in France, or you know, it's kind of the same. You're kind of going to those countries where obviously olive trees, or in Italy. I mean, I love Italy,
Mm-hmm.
and when I go there, I'm just so inspired.
Yeah.
And some of the places we stayed in, the courtyard gardens and the vines on the side of the house, and you know, it's that kind of style. And after you go somewhere else in France, and you'll get a different style with a fig tree against
Yeah.
the house, or something trained and a bit more
Yeah.
formal.
Yeah.
And your job is basically, and I'm actually quite envious, you know, looking for obviously you need your bread and butter, like you were
Yeah.
saying, like your hedging plants of good quality, good size. But it feels like what excites you maybe is those key plants that catches the eye,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
make
we
it
we
exciting.
we all do trips. Like the last trip that we did to Italy, we didn't really need stock, or the stock that we needed. We know where it was coming from, and we almost just give them a list. Right, just send me what you sent me last time. Same quality, same size.
Yeah,
Now let's have some fun. Let's just drive around, take me around all the small nurseries, around the back roads. And I used to work out there as well, so you know a lot of the smaller little places. And yeah, and you're saying to your representative over there, do you remember that tiny little place? We drove past a little yellow house, and it had a red door, and
yeah,
because they had some really interesting catalpas in there, or, you know, and it's doing stuff like that.
yeah,
And you know, there's plenty of people doing the same job as me, and they have the same excitement going
yeah,
out and doing it, and they all do a good job. And and that's where opinion can come in. You know, someone else has looked at that tree. You know, that tree
yeah,
is 30, 40 years old or whatever. A million eyes have been on that tree. And it just takes that one person to see it, love it, like it. And there will be someone else that comes into your
yeah.
nursery, and and
And have
and,
the
and,
same.
and you don't want to sell the boring
yeah,
stuff.
that's what I got as well. Like you said, it's kind of a race against the clock with all these other people trying to source plants that you've got
Yeah.
to go get them first at the right
Yeah.
time. Otherwise, someone else has kind of snapped it up.
Yeah. And that's normally the case where you throw your eyes across, you'll see something, and you'll walk over, and it's got someone's tag on it, and you're like,
Quick, quick.
bloody Germans have got there early and put their tag on it, you know. So, and that's frustrating. You kind of look at the guy and think, well, what date was on this tag? Can you ring the office and see when that was tagged? Because if it was over 6 months ago and they haven't taken it,
Yeah,
it's fair game then.
yeah.
So, but yeah.
So is that your favourite part of being in this sort of part of the market? Like,
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so.
yeah.
Obviously, it's really nice dealing with different people and different problems every day. That's really, you know, it's a bit of an old thing, but there is literally no 2 days the same. Never, ever, ever, ever. You know, you can make your jobs list at the start of the day, and by 10 o'clock it's out the window because something's turned up like it shouldn't, or a customer's come through, and then it's thrown you off because then, yeah, they come in with an exciting project. You think, right, I need to get that document, that kind of plant list knocked up and sent out, and you're on the phone straight away to people, and then by it's like 2 o'clock and you've forgotten everything you were meant to do. And that's what I was saying at the start with discipline, like with watering. There's that discipline. Like, hang on, right, I need to stop that, park it, go and do whatever else. Let's keep everything else alive.
I've got a question, and it's more of a practical question. So, when you buy your plants, let's say you've been on a trip, you bought a bunch of special plants, but as well you've got your normal plants that you normally stock. So some of your stock, how long does it stay in your nursery? And do you kind of like obviously you look after it, water it, train it? Do you do a bit of training, pruning?
You hope not to,
Yeah,
is the honest answer. You hope not
because you
to,
want to
but
sell it before it gets to that point.
exactly. But listen, you know, some of the bigger ticket items are going to sit there for a
Yeah.
period of time. So, so it can be, you know, some of the 100-year-old olives will, you know, they will sit there. So yeah, you'll end up pruning stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of the trees and stuff you don't really have to do much to. It's, yeah, any plant that's in the pot or in the nursery basically is on life support, isn't it? You know, it's never going to improve much while it's in a pot
No.
on a nursery to a degree. It needs to get in the ground somewhere and be loved and cared for. So, but yeah, the bigger pieces we do it, and then it's down to having the staff, the quality of the staff, to be able to do that and not damage it. I've had it before where we've had a big Ben, a topiary big Ben with the clock faces in, everything. And I was a bit busy, so I said to a member of staff, and he'd done a lot of pruning, he'd done a lot of the half standards, and did a really good job. And I just said, look, you do Big Ben, it needs a clip. And then he got a bit carried away and he took the spire off the top, and I've come out and I could just straight away, I don't know why my eyes just went straight across I was like, oh my God.
Big Ben.
And then you're thinking, oh my God, the owner's going to kill me. It's my responsibility. I let him do it. It's not on him. It's my fault. So you have to be a bit careful on things like that, because it took a long time to get like that, and it's taken some young 20-year-old lad just to get a bit carried away with his shears. One clip and it's gone. So
I mean, we still got a team doing maintenance and the two great guys, but before, when we had 10 guys going around, you get it where you get a tree that's been there and someone loves that tree.
Absolutely.
Like you say, the apprentice that is a bit bored of weeding picks up the hedge trimmer and thinks he's going to shape it up, And you think, like the love of tree. I mean, I see it in my garden. I come home from a hard day's work, and this time of the year, it's the best time of the year because we've just had a shitty winter. It was so long.
Yeah.
And you see the leaves come out in your trees that you've planted. I've got a wisteria that I planted in my border that I'm training into a wisteria tree because I really like them. And it's flowered this year. So all that joy that it brings, it's amazing. I mean, I must admit, it sounds like a cool lifestyle you have, looking after plants, selling cool plants, and working with people that like plants as well. So you kind of in that big suite.
Italy, Moretti's.
You need to be careful of that. When you're out there every week, and obviously you don't end up paying for your own food because whatever supply you're with wants to look after you, and you just need to don't eat the bread, don't drink too much, don't do because it's over easy to indulge.
What's for the future? Then give us a little plan.
Over the period of the last few months, we've been in conversation with Jamie Butterworth and Form. They had a nursery over at Dorney, doing very similar kind of products, very similar clients, and we did bits and pieces work together. And they'd kind of outgrown their space. We've got a fair sized nursery that we also had the potential to expand. And it's just sort of a conversation that a lot of their pluses were negatives for us, and a lot of our pluses were negatives for them. So we kind of looked at it and thought, well, hang on, if we push these two businesses together, they started at the same time as us. If we push these two businesses together, we're going to have something really quite special on our hands. So that's what we've gone through. It's like it's out there now. It's on Pro Landscaper. It's all everything's going ahead, and really quite excited about it. I think we're all looking forward to working with each other. I think certainly with us three directors, with myself, Phil, and Jamie, we've all got our own skill sets. Phil's brilliant on the business side of things. He's that level head. Jamie's a fantastic plantsman, bit of a maverick, bit of a say yes, worry about it later. I'm probably in a bit between of the two. I'm in between. I'm the middle of the ages as well. So I think the three of us together will be a really good team for each other. We'll both encourage and calm down at the same time of each other in different situations.
Good.
So everything, all the form is moving over to us. We're currently up until this week with Chelsea, with 2 Arctics a day of stock coming over. So the nursery's so we're expanding the nursery. We're doing Chelsea, contract going for Hampton Court, and then swapping the nurseries over. So it's been a bit.
Be having a just for anyone else listening, will you be having like an official sort of reopening? I know you're doing a lot of work sort of structurally in terms of
I think
extending a nursery, putting more base down, stuff like that.
I think certainly sort of probably by Hampton Court there'll be something a bit more substantial. Certainly first phase will absolutely would have been done. The stock would have been over. The staff will be over. So that by that point, everything's, because at the moment, we've got sales and half of the, some of the products at Dorney, some of the products with us, and it's just, they're going through the stock lists and it's writing, Flourish. So once we've got through that, once we've got through Chelsea, we've discovered Amazon Logistics, which has saved us a fortune. So you can hire Arctics from Amazon, which is brilliant. Brilliant. So we've been using those for the transport. So it's going to be a really good, young, exciting business. One that we really want to listen to the customers. What do you want? Because it just makes our lives easier. Why buy stuff that people aren't looking for? What do you want to see in nurseries? What are you struggling to find? What do you constantly want to put on your plant lists that aren't there? And if we can't grow it, so a lot of the feedback we've had at the moment is really chunky herbaceous, 10 litre minimum, but some 30 litres in some product lines, just big chunky fat things that that, then obviously that's not going to suit every budget. For the other end of the market, smaller garden stuff, what are you struggling to find? What do you want? And then if we've got the space to accommodate it, we'll do it.
Is there
it's gonna.
Is there any real sort of trends that you're kind of picking up on? I know you said for me, the most beautiful is just anything multi-stem up crown lifted.
Yeah.
You can see the I call it sexy, but the sexiness of all the. Is it like, apart from is there anything else that you can see sort of really trending?
As a sort of a product line, I would say Filarea has really come on over the last year, 18 months. It's a great plant, very hardy, does very well in the heat. It's come through the winter absolutely pretty much untouched at the nursery, so it's tough as old boots. Looks like an olive leaf, from a distance, let's say. So that's something that's really started to push. But the multi stems just which I love. It's more my style. It's you can go to Chelsea or Hampton Court, and you get years where you get designers requesting absolutely pin straight, pure white betula, and they want it absolutely manicured to within an inch of its life, and that's got its place, and people love that. It's not my style. And then looking around Chelsea this year, it's great because there's a lot more multi-stem trees. There's a lot more kind of wild looking, natural looking. It's good. Obviously, that's better for nature as well. That natural side is better for birds, bees, and everything in between.
A bit more
an environment.
So to wrap it up, I'm going to tell you my favourite multi-stem strain. Multi-stem. Here we go. It will be Himalayan birch.
Okay. Yeah.
I really like the white and the small leaves.
Yeah.
That it carries. What about you, Adam? What's your favourite multi-stem?
I'd be the Osmanthus, but would I?
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Evergreen, scented white flowers, ticks a lot of boxes. So both of those are probably in our top 5 sellers. I love quite a clean white and green garden. You know,
Yeah.
it's one thing that, you know, if you've got people that haven't got a lot of budget, white and green's really easy.
I've
Because
got a border coming along. So I've got the main border is cottage as fuck. I mean, it's like, wow. And when it comes up, it's what. But I've got this new border, slightly less deep, and it's all green and white. So I've got some boxes. So that's my green and some grasses, some olive trees, and hydrangeas for white. And I've got some, you know, some more perennials, irises, white irises, and I'm going to add to it this year. But I like the idea of just obviously the green side important because it's mainly green all year long, and then you get there's big dollops of colour, and the white is just so clean, and I'm really enjoying playing with the green and white as well.
It's so easy to add to later on, because it's never can't really be the wrong shade of white. You can have the wrong shade of pink, the wrong shade of red, the wrong shade of blue. So just green and white is timeless, and it's easy, and it can be really stunning. Very clean. Hillier did a garden. I forgot which show it was at, but they did just green and white, and it just looked great.
Yeah, something else.
Just looked really great. Yeah, very easy.
Second favourite, Pruna Sorilla multi-stem.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah,
lovely.
Yeah.
Adam, give us your third favourite. I know you're dying to say it. Come on, just do it.
I don't have a third.
Don't have a third. Well, here we go.
To
wrap it up, I want to thank you for coming on tonight.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's very interesting.
Really informative. I really enjoyed meeting you properly.
Yeah.
I'm in Bishop Stortford, so it's not a million miles away from where you are.
No, you'll have to come down. Yeah.
Yes.
Half an hour.
I definitely will. I'll come with some money.
I say to anyone wanting to have a walk around and see some, plants you can't see anywhere else. Like every time I go there, I'm not just saying, every time I go there, there's at least 10 things which are like super wow. You have to take a step back and you can just look at it just for like a few minutes and go, wow, that's not seen that before. That's really impressive.
That's cool. I'll have to come and have a look and spend some money. For my garden.
That's always the best bit.
Exactly. And but yeah, looking forward to seeing the companies merging as well.
Yes.
And like I was saying, looking forward to seeing more on Instagram because you guys are doing a lot. So it'd be quite interesting to follow that story along. So I'll do a story tomorrow with putting all the socials up. So for everyone that follow us, they can tune into your story.
And to follow the journey, everything will be merging into the Form brand. So follow us on the Insta. It's already started on the Form Insta. And then let's see where we can take it. Let's try and build something exciting.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate
it. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye. How are you?
You didn't walk off?
I didn't. I nearly did, just for a joke.
I didn't think I did. I'm always worried that the guest won't leave, that they're waiting for us to leave.
Yeah. I mean, that's always a risk.
Shall we try both of us, like...
I'm gone. That was good. What a nice guy Adam is.
Yeah. No, he's I've known him for a while. Super
and it sounds like his nursery is it's really interesting. I'd love to go and visit the nursery and see some of the plants they've got there.
What's nice is that you have I know me and you are quite similar, but you had the exact same. I didn't say anything to you beforehand about this sort of thing, but you were like so envious of his job. And I've said that to him a lot of times, especially when I went back a couple of weeks ago and saw him, and he sort of told me all the up-to-date sort of stuff. And it's just what a career, especially it's tough, but going off countries, sourcing the plants.
Yeah. Like I said before, that when you're a landscaper and you're finishing your projects, even when you're working with designers or not, you know, those plants make it. And you know, don't get me wrong, I love a patio and I love a slab and I like all the other structures, but yeah, the plants are so vital, and to see his passion come through,
Yeah.
it's kind of made me a bit like, oh wow. To be honest, I think with Jess, we've always said it, because I started a business as a gardener. I've always wanted kind of like a nursery, or you know, the fact that I've grown up on the vineyard as well, like growing things and vegetables and growing. I just find it's just so exciting. So yeah, I think maybe I wouldn't be like. So if I had to do his job, I would want to grow my own stuff as well. That would be quite cool.
Yeah.
Just to see it, you know, and you know how most trees that you buy are grafted, so they've got you know, a different, you know, root plant and stuff like that.
Yeah, different
Yeah,
root stock. So
different.
the root stock determines the height of it, and then the one you graft on top determines what it.
Yeah, exactly. And some root stocks are more resistant to our climate.
Yeah.
Uh,
Have you tried multiple? I forgot what the top one's called. Have you tried multiple? Because I know that apples, for example, you can grow 12 different varieties of apple on
yeah.
one root stock.
A graft.
Yeah.
So we in France we had this big disease in the vineyard industry called phylloxera. It was a bug that bit the roots and killed the plants. And in France, nearly everything got wiped out. And then they brought in this bottom stock, the root stock from
Yeah.
America, and all the vines now in France have American rootstock to a French, you know, Syrah or Gamay or anything like that. So, I mean,
Protect against it. Yeah.
yeah, interesting. But to wrap this up, you can find us on Spotify. You can find us on YouTube. Thank you for watching, for everyone that watched. I know it's only 4 people watching right now, but still,
Yeah, no, we've had a good, good one today.
yeah,
I'm surprised each one, each one's getting better.
yes,
We're getting more comfortable. Yeah, and we're having some great feedback as well, which is really nice.
no, exactly. Do you want to announce the guests for next week, or is it onshore yet?
I'm still waiting for a text back,
Okay.
so I'll give them a message now. But what I do is this episode now will be downloaded, and I'll pop it on Spotify under Landscapers Life.
Yeah.
What have you got it on YouTube?
I've got it on YouTube on the Landscapers Life Sexy Guys. I've got it on our YouTube.
Yeah.
And it's Tisserand English Gardens. Cool. I'll give you a call. Chat to you in a minute. Bye bye.
Bye bye.